creating, synthesizing information to create something new. We also use what we call the icons, similar to what you might see on your iPhone. They're just little pictures, and they're kind of like jumping off points. So you might see some of these little icons on your student work. For example, today in math, I had a little icon, and what they are just kind of like talking points. And they allow us and the students, as they get more comfortable using them, to explore things more in depth and add more complexity to whatever it is we're talking about or studying. So for example, today in 4th grade, I put a bunch of numbers up, and the students had to identify the pattern. Once they identified the pattern, it was square numbers. So what is the formula for square numbers? Those are rules. Multiple perspectives across disciplines. I was thinking about it when we were more at the slide about art. So art reflects a time and a place. So if we're looking at a painting that was done in the Renaissance, we can look at it from the perspective of an artist, the elements of art. How does the artist use the elements of art to create the art? If it's a Renaissance painting, we can talk about what was going on at that time in Europe. If it's Greek mythology, looking at it from that perspective. So we're using these icons in our lessons, our activities, and as the students in 4th grade become more familiar with them, they'll be using them in some of their activities. So specifically the curriculum for grade level. So you saw what we do across the grade levels, but specifically what we do in each grade level I'll talk about right now. Traditionally, our units have been dependent on our field trips. So we typically do 2 field trips a year in the fall and in the spring. So whatever that field trip is would kind of determine what our unit will be. So for example, 4th grade, Labrador carpets, paleontology. And in the past, I've done things kind of separately, like we're going to do a unit on paleontology, and now we're going to do 2 Greek mythology. But I decided this year to try something new. So far, it's been kind of successful. All of these disciplines up there, psychology, world geography, technology, design, paleontology, I want to do it throughout the year. So I have a big sign in my room where in the world. So I'm always referring to places in the world. So right now we're talking about fossils. And one of the best places to find Mesozoic fossils is North America. One of the world's North America. You get where I'm going with this, right? Asia. Where in the world is Asia? Well, specifically the fossils are found on the border of China and Mongolia. So I'm always having students going to the map. Using technology to develop their geography skills, and this is great with our apps and Google Classroom. So it's really important that students have access at home to Google Classroom so they can access Google Maps, Google other assignments that I'll design using some of these apps. Psychology is just how we think, and I always have felt it's important for students to know how they think, how they learn best, what their learning style is. So I do a lot of fun games, activities. Are they more of a spatial thinker? Are they more logical? Because once they know how they learn, and they know where some weaknesses are, they know how to improve and develop their skills in their learning. Design, as we're always looking at problem solving. So I might have a design challenge using different materials, Legos or kits, even construction paper, and then they have to work together to solve the problem, and that's where the design challenge. Here's an example of world geography where they have construction paper, and they had to come up with kind of like an Epcot idea. I call it gate art. At the time, I called it Gate World. So every group had a country, and they had to develop a ride based upon the country's history or geography. In the past, when I've done the world geography unit, I always would pick a specific country to go a little bit more in depth. Maybe usually it's somewhere I've been, because I have a lot of resources and experiences that I can share with the kids. So Australia, or in the last few years, I've been in South Africa, which has been very successful, I feel, as a teacher, because the kids can see how South Africa has progressed from a police state under apartheid to a democracy, Nelson Mandela, kind of make those parallels to the United States. And also tie into another discipline like zoology, animals, looking at animals in their natural habitat in Africa, using the technology to actually go to a national park in South Africa. You see 2 pictures on the very end, so I know you don't get into our classrooms, because look at all the people here. So You see some pictures of what our classes look like. We're really lucky when we have large rooms. We can spread out and do activities. These pictures were taken this year. You might recognize your child. So right now, paleontology is the focus because of our upcoming field trip. Sorry, I went too fast. And as we're always working on our units and lessons, we're always keeping in mind those higher level thinking skills, what we can do to increase students' higher level thinking and foster creativity.
All right, we're less than 10 minutes, so I'm going to get a little sped up really fun. So the units that we'll do this year, we'll do computer science, computer programming. Students will get an opportunity to create their own game and see how that is with coding and all that good stuff. And some of my kids already know how to do that, and that's fine. They'll just go, keep going, they'll keep building and moving forward with it. We'll do art appreciation in preparation for our spring field trip. Again, learning about the elements of art, they'll get some hands-on projects to do and have fun with that. Law and government, they'll learn the basics of law. We'll set up the classroom like a courtroom, and we'll do some mock trials, some scripted mock trials and stuff like that. So they kind of see what it's like. It's fun to see that. STEAM challenges, we like to do a lot of STEAM challenges in fifth grade as well. At least 1 or 2 a month. It's a good way of getting hands-on projects. Space science, of course, in preparation for our NASA JPL Jet Propulsion Lab field trip coming at the end of November. That's a fantastic field trip. And we were talking about careers earlier. We have had students go through our program who have worked out in NASA JPL. That's pretty cool. They really like that. They go see that. They might be inspired to want to do that. It was cool to get to see the last few Curiosity getting built and Perseverance, which are the last 2 rovers that have gone up to Mars and are currently roving Mars. So being able to see that is quite an experience. It's exciting. And another unit that we're going to do is inventions. A lot of you are probably familiar with the TV show Shark Tank. I enjoy it. It's fun to watch. I've always tried to figure out how can I incorporate that into my curriculum, tie in with inventions and things like that. I did find a good unit, and I adapted it to make it work for me. I tried it out in the springtime. I was apprehensive, but it turned out very well. The students did an amazing job. It went way above my expectations. And because of that, we're going to do it again this spring, or next spring. Again, it also, not only does it work on their creative side of things, inventing, but also their public speaking skills. And they having interactions with their peers, answering questions. A lot of kids don't like to do that. And, we try and get them to feel comfortable and have that practice.
Right there. So, since they left me 30 seconds, we'll go through this one. So we'll do a unit on architecture. We'll start it at some point in the middle of the year, keep going. Tolerance is what we're doing right now. Most of you, if you know how many 6th grade parents are here, you're not that many. But you should know about the field trip already. Its emphasis is on the Holocaust and World War II, but it's also what happened before that and what's going on in the world today. We watch the news every day. We talk about how things in the news affect people's relationships with each other around the world, in our communities, and the stock market, which we tie in together. But that's a big part of what we talk about in 6th grade, is that tolerance. Art and mythology, you saw we do that throughout all the different grade levels. We just do it at different levels based on the grade that we're in. And then stock market is one where you spend the first couple of weeks going over what stocks are, how to research them, and things like that. This is the beginning of the contest this week. It goes for 10 weeks. You can see that we had a group win in 18, 19. And this is for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on the Western United States. And they always complain because they're in 6th grade. And I go, I don't want to hear you crying about it. You're basically in middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So you need to learn to compete with older kids. You are smarter, than some of the other kids in 7th and 8th grade schools anyway. So let's go out and show how smart you are. So they're usually small groups. There's no more than 4 kids in a group. So they learn, and I put them randomly into groups so that they learn to work with other people that they're not comfortable with or working with all the time. We also won in 2021, and I expect 22, 23 then are going to be coming our way also. So if any of you are 6th grade parents and you have Stockdale for your students, if they haven't asked you already about it, that's their fault. They already should have. Because that was one of their homework assignments, is to look up what the stocks research on it, and then bring it back in so they can talk to their team members about those different stocks. The next thing is the field trips that everybody's been talking about. So you can see that in 6th grade, we're going to the Museum of Tolerance on November 10th. 4th grade, we'll be going to the Brea Tar Pits, and Mr. Chenot was talking about NASA down in Pasadena, and all of them. And I just realized that this year for the 6th grade students, this is the first time they're actually in the because 4th grade was all virtual. Last year they didn't go. This is the first year they could actually take field trips because they were requiring, well, do we take a school bus? We don't take a school bus, we take a private bus, and things like that. And it just was amazing that for 6th graders this year, this is the first field trip they'll take. When our program is based a lot around field trips that we're going to go. The daily schedule.
Let me just leave it on, Mr. Shore. Again, I have the hats off to our transportation. The schedule. Some kinks and everything, but we like to get started at 9, but realistically it's kind of more like 9:15. But we have 20 elementary schools. Kids come from all over the district with traffic and whatnot, and staff shortages, so we're making it work, and again, our transportation department's done an incredible job. Our bus drivers they all want to drive the gate kids because they love having the gate kids on the bus. So you can kind of see our schedule here. I'd like to draw your attention to recess and lunch. If you look, recess ends at 10:25, lunch begins at 10:50. Very short window there. Lunch is earlier at gate. And I say that because if your child forgets their lunch, they can always get their lunch here at Stockdale, same menu. But if you want to bring your lunch, or you need to come at lunchtime to pick them up, or for whatever reason, keep in mind that it's earlier lunch at gate than the regular school. Oh yeah. Okay. And
Here is the gate report card. Quite different from the Gen Ed report card that you normally see. It is broken up into 4 little sections there. The top 3, personal social growth, and then it's got some categories there that you can see. Study habits is another heading, and then the third one there is learning skills development. And for all 3 of those, you're going to have a grading symbol of full outstanding, F satisfactory, and needs improvement. The academic achievement is broken into 2, with the weekly homework assignments and long-term projects. And with those, it'll be the traditional A, C, B, and or F. You will receive a report card twice a year from GATE. The first one will be at the end of the first semester in January. The second one will be at the end of the year. If your child happens to get all O's and 2 A's, that's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I don't think that we're easy graders. We know that we need to challenge our students, and they should be getting A's on their Gen Ed. If they can pull off A's and outstanding here, that's amazing. So please congratulate them, take them up to a dinner or something. Do something for them. Because it really is amazing that they're able to laugh.
So I must seem to draw the short straw every year because I need to talk to you about the deficiency courses. So it's pretty simple. If your child does not act the way they're supposed to, you're going to hear about it. And that is basically, we don't want it ever to happen again. Because if it does, they're out of gate. Now, there's other things besides behavior up there. If they don't like working with other people in group activities, that's not cool. They have to learn to work with other students in group activities. It just has to be done. Some students love working by themselves. That's great. There are opportunities to do that as well. Another one is no homework. Producing of homework assignments. That is the biggest one. If a child forgets their homework one week, everything is fine. We understand they probably left their gate minder at home or at school. Bring it next week, everything is fine. Well, count it as you don't have it this week. Bring it next week. The next week comes around, they bring their homework from the previous week and this week, everything is fine. They come the next week and they go, I don't have the homework. What about last week's homework? I don't have that either. Now you're going to get a deficiency because we feel as though your child doesn't want to be engaged because they don't want to do the homework. They don't want to do the extra work. Why are they here? They all tried out to get into the program. They wanted to get into the program. We assume they want to stay in the program. If they don't do their homework, you're going to hear about it, and that is a step out the door. They're not going to be deprived of anything if they need game, but they obviously don't want to do this. So that's when you're going to receive it. Does that make sense? Excellent.
Back on a positive note.
That's positive. They all had expectations about it. They all said that seems very logical, very easy to understand. Right? Do your work, everybody's happy.
It's the vast majority of students engage do a phenomenal job, as Nor says. Oftentimes we report credit. It's always amazing. All O's, A's at the bottom, and these are the same students who miss one day of school a week because they're out of their classroom one day a week, and they still make honor roll or principal's list, straight A's in their school or honor roll. That is your typical A. And so sometimes the deficiencies happen and for a reason, and rightly so, but hopefully that's why it's a deficiency notice to put on notice that they will improve. As you can see from the slide share and hopefully from the slides before, we have a great job. So we have high expectations that we expect maximum effort from our kids, our students. They can expect us as team players, members here, to do a good job in helping develop those critical thinking skills and to develop creative thinking or foster creativity. And I think of the Einstein quote about what is a gifted person, and he says, and if you remember this, creativity is intelligence, having fun. And it is a fun job. I've been an elementary school teacher for 33 years, in the GATE program for 15 years, and it's official, I'm old, because it finally happened. I have a fourth grader who came to me and says, oh, my mom was in your sixth grade class. And the following week, he came and oh, and my aunt was in your fourth grade class. But it's a great job. I love what I'm going to say that on behalf of our team. We love working with your students. Hats off to you as parents. They're great kids, mannerly, respectful, and it's a pleasure to work with them. And it is a lot of fun, a lot of activity, a lot of intelligence out there, and we are having fun.
He just stole a lot of my closing statements. I will leave you with resources for parents. We do get questions about, hey, are there some, can you guys recommend some more work and things that